Let's get started. Hello everyone, it's Hoovian Maverick. And today we're reviewing, and now that we're free from the Key to Time era, now I can review every episode from 4th Doctor in random order that I haven't reviewed yet. So today we're doing Planet of Evil, and recently I had to watch. This is an episode I've seen recently, so it's a pretty recent episode I've seen, so I'm still refreshing it all, although it's very hard to process everything. So, let's start with a summary. We're on this planet, and there's these scientists that are on this planet called Zeta Minor, and they're discovering and trying to learn the planet, because the planet is quite evil and really toxic for the scientists, so they shouldn't really be there, because it's pretty toxic for their bodies to absorb. So what they try to do is they're trying to learn about antimatter and how to absorb it and use it in any ways. So, which is why or how evolution of technology works. If you have to find like a mineral that helps you change stuff, fine. But Zeta Minor is an evil planet and very, very toxic. So what happens is one of the people die because the planet is actually sentient and it's actually alive, because it can actually kill you, and there's like a forest and there's antimatter that lives there. But it doesn't mean all the antimatter is good. Actually, the antimatter is the most toxic thing there, because if you like eat it, touch it, or like even are next to it, you could possibly die. So that's what they show us, and scientist dies. The other scientists find out that this guy's dead. So we learn about the scientist that is actually part of the scientists that were sent to discover Zeta Minor, called Sorensen, who is a pretty mad scientist because he's been there for years and years. So as soon as another spaceship comes and try to pack up and pick up our little scientists that have been on Zeta Minor for years, they try to pick them up, and then Sorensen realizes that they don't really need the antimatter stuff, and Sorensen goes crazy because he's actually been studying antimatter and he doesn't want those years to go away. So he actually wants to experiment with the antimatter. And then you have the Doctor and Sarah, which arrive on the planet, and Sarah starts feeling a little out of body, literally out of body, because the forest of Zeta Minor is pretty evil. So something happens to her because something, I don't know, physical. I can't really explain this to you. And then we come back to scientists who were just picked up by a ship with all the other people, all the other humans, I think. And they pick up, and Sorensen just gets mad. So, and then that's the time when we meet my least favorite character in this whole episode, Selimar, who is the most annoying and most repetitive character ever, because he's just annoying, and he's unintentionally the villain, because first of all, he's not technically the villain, but he's a villain because he doesn't really listen. He doesn't listen, and easily I'm not convinced that, because the reasons for him not believing are not clear. So, anyways, back to the Doctor. They find the dead bodies of one of the scientists, just like the other ones did, and then they get captured by the people that were just picking up stuff, and so they think the Doctor killed the scientist, but actually it was the planet, Zeta Minor, or the antimatter at least. So they get taken to the ship. Sarah can't breathe in their ships because of the oxygen. So I'm assuming these are not humans. Actually, I'm assuming they're a different species. Even though they look exactly human, they're played by humans. So not very convincing. So yeah, after that, the Doctor is trying to explain what happened, and he didn't actually kill the scientist, just saying. And he tried to convince the other scientists. So my favorite character, Vyshensky, I'm just gonna go on V. V, who is my favorite character in this whole episode, is actually on the Doctor's side and Sarah's side, because they actually believe that they didn't do anything. He's the only character I like because he actually believes in the Doctor, and he actually gives good reasons why he believes in their story. Because like characters like Selimar and Sorensen, they're kind of the villains of the hero of the story, because they don't really believe the Doctor and Sarah's Jane's story of the whole accident and the scientist dying. So after that, another scientist dies, and then you realize Sorensen is the very last scientist that has been there for years. So then after that, after they try to get more antimatter, because Sorensen just doesn't want to give up, he tries to there's like a little pit, and so after that, cliffhanger happens, and you know why? Because an antimatter monster just comes out of the pit, and boom, cliffhanger. So after that, the Doctor escapes, but he actually falls into the pit, which, what? And people actually thought he died. So Sarah is now captured by these mad scientists, Salmar, V, and Sorensen. So now she's just by herself, trying to tell and convince them on an argument by herself. And then we get back to the Doctor, and he's in a pit. He's like in the black area, and he's kind of. And then after that, after we see the Doctor, he just got out of there. Like we just saw him in the pit with just a glowing light on his face. And then the next scene, after we see him, after a bunch of scenes, he's back climbing after the pit. So it's kind of random how he got out. Yeah, it's not really explained. When I first saw the episode, I was like, how did he get out? I saw him down in the pit, all black and stuff, and then he just got out. Okay, fair enough. Then after that, Sarah and Doctor is kind of drained. You can see Tom Baker is kind of playing like he's playing tired tonight, like Doctor. So Doctor is really tired and drained from all the antimatter stuff, I guess. So after that, they all go to the ship, they start leaving Zeta Minor, which is a good thing. But then actually, Sorensen actually collected some of the antimatter, and the Doctor realizes that the antimatter is the biggest reason why people keep dying. So Sorensen actually secretly brings antimatter onto the ship. They leave Zeta Minor, and Sorensen, which, can I just say, he's mad. He's completely mad. And he actually eats the antimatter, and he starts turning into like abominations. One, he has his eyes glow. Two, he sees in the mirror and he looks like a werewolf. And then three, which is, I'm not gonna say after that. So after they find out that that's happening, Salmar just doesn't believe them. He's the whole time he always believes the Doctor is responsible for all the deaths. But no, actually it's Sorensen. It's kind of like a transformation, but every time Sorensen uses the antimatter, eats it or drinks it, and then he turns into an abomination and then comes back to his original form. But every time he does it, he kills someone and then he can't remember. So it's kind of like that. It looks like a werewolf story, but with, antimatter. So Salmar just keeps blaming the Doctor for all the deaths, even though it's clearly Sorensen, but he can't remember. So yeah. And then V is actually on the Doctor and Sarah's side, while he's also trying to fight against Salmar for his very no proof at all evidence that he thinks the Doctor and Sarah killed everyone else. So after that, the Doctor figures out that Sorensen actually was doing all the doing. And he kept telling everyone, the guys, the antimatter is the real villain. Just drop it. It's not worth it. But no, Sorensen's just super mad, and he does not want to waste his time. But who cares? People have already died already. So Sorensen did it one more time, and the Doctor warned him that if he did it one more time, it will be the last time he did it, and after that, he will die. So he did that, and his eyes turned red, and he turned like a creature. It looked like a troll, to be honest. I'll show an image right now. And he looked like a kind of troll, and then after that, he fell into the pit. Yeah, after that, he went into the pit, and he came back to normal, but then they left him. So they left Zeta Minor, but actually, the last time he did it, it was on a spaceship. They were about to crash into a Zeta Minor. They were about to crash, because Sorensen's just so mad about his work over these years. So he's just gonna crash and kill everyone. But they defeat, and then Salmar is just gonna kill Sarah and Doctor because they don't believe their story. So they're just gonna kill him. So we have Salmar being a total douche, and we have Sorensen being a total mad lad. So we have V, who's actually the only one doing anything, but he got punched in the face by Salmar. And so Sorensen kind of keeps killing people, and then he dies. And then Salmar, I think V got back up, or Vizhinsky got back up and killed, or kind of knocked out Salmar, and I think he died. I think Salmar died, actually. And so Sorensen died after his final abomination, which was his third one, I think, and he died. So yeah, and then the Doctor dropped off the antimatter and they left it off with those capsules. So they dropped off the antimatter off their spaceship, and the antimatter creatures left them alone because truly antimatter is the true enemy here, and also like the mind itself. But you know what antimatter can do to you. So it just tells me, and then yeah, that's a pretty long summary. But that's because I have a lot more to talk about if I remember it. And yes, I recently watched the episode, pretty recently, so I have a lot to say. So after that, the Doctor and Sarah thank Wyszynski for all their help. So he just says goodbye, and he takes care of the ship, and they learn their lesson to never again, even though everyone on the crew is just dead except him, because to be honest, I think he's the best character in this. I'm on his side every time. So after that summary, episode ends. This story is quite interesting. It's not forgettable either. It's average, I guess. It's not horrible. I have to say, the other episodes that I've reviewed over these few months, very bad. Either that or just boring or forgettable. But this one is just it's just average, you know? Like, it's fine. And there's not really nothing wrong with it. Unless Solomar's plot to kill the Doctor being very unconvincing. Because, honestly, there's so much proof, dude. Solomar should have no reason to kill the Doctor and Sarah because he has no proof. But I guess he can make the argument that they don't have proof either, so... But even though the Doctor makes good points, Olimar does not believe them. So, in resolution, he ends up dying. Yeah, that was very unconvincing. So I have to say that was bad. But I do like the motivation that Sorensen goes through. He's a scientist that's been working on antimatter, and he was sent to Zeta Minor to work on it for years, only to know that his work went to waste, and he just went mad because he didn't. And I can relate because I wouldn't want so much work go away or just go to waste because I really don't like that. So I can see his motivation. The motivation with the villain is quite inspiring and quite relatable too. Yeah, what else? The Xenomite creatures are just like, they look unique, I guess, but to be honest, they're just like, they look like the crinoids when they're like fully morphed. I'll show you an image. And they look like fully morphed crinoids when they're like at their final stage, I think, or the creature stage. But they're red. So I'll show you an image. I do like all the antimatter science and and I like the planet too. The setting looks really cool. Like the jungle area of Zeta Minor looks really cool. It actually looks like a real jungle, but like demented and like evil, completely evil. And yeah, it looks like a real jungle. So I have to give props to the stage team or like the settings, because the production for this, I know the budget mostly went to the set because the set looks amazing. The planet of Xenominer looks great, and I feel like that was worth it. Especially when you're adding Planet of Evil into your title, I feel like the most important thing about Planet of Evil is the planet itself. So I feel like it was wise to spend most of the budget on the planet because the planet looks amazing. So, and we get a lot of great scenes. And I will say the cliffhangers are a bit underrated, or they're not that good. I'm saying, because I've seen better or funnier cliffhangers, and trust me, I love cliffhangers in Doctor Who. They're quite fun, especially when you don't see them coming. They come at the most or the least time possible. So I find those really fun. So this is written by Louis Marks. I feel like he did this well. He did really well. This episode is quite great. It's not remarkable or amazing, but it's average. It's a pretty good episode. Not memorable, not remarkable. It's not big. I don't know how to say this, but it's a bit average. Although I have to say I did enjoy it because of the stakes, and also because Tom Baker's great, right? I can't help it. So I feel like he's great. Everyone's great. So yeah, I feel, but the costumes are a bit whack. That's all I have to say. After that, I have to give this episode 8 out of 10 because it's not bad. I don't see any. There's like only 2 things to see bad about it. So that's in the setting. I just like the planet. It looks so lovely. Although evil, very very evil, but still lovely. And I also like the effects, especially with when Sorensen has red eyes and like turns into a big troll creature. It just gets super wacky, and I love when Doctor Who does something wacky that doesn't have or has aged well. Because whenever Doctor Who has an effect that hasn't aged well, I usually like those scenes because it's kind of charming, because you know we have improved over the years, and Doctor Who has improved on effects over the years. So I feel like seeing those wacky scenes in Doctor Who are really fun and quite cute. So yeah, 8 out of 10 is what I'm gonna give it, and it deserves it because I kind of enjoyed it, and it's the most recent episode I've seen. So in resolution, I've enjoyed this episode, but it's not remarkable. So because I love other episodes. Also, you might not see another review until the end of June or early July, because I'm gonna be very because the schedule is really difficult and complicated. So. Sorry if you want any more reviews. So, this is Huvi Merrick, and I'm signing off. And this episode was fun. It wasn't great, but it was enjoyable. See you guys later. Bye.